They are not all the same among the followers of the book. There is an upright party. They recite God's communications in the nighttime, and they prostrate, they pray. And they believe in God in the last day, and they command what is right and forbid the wrong. And they hasten to good deeds, and these are among the good. Whatever they do, they will not be denied it, and God knows those who are careful of their duty. This is what God tells us in the Quran in the 3rd chapter, verses 113 to 115, about the followers of previous scriptures. In this case, this will be referring to people who are Jewish or Christian. They are not all the same, just like people who call themselves Muslims are not all the same. You have evil people among those who carry the label of Muslim, and you have evil people who carry the label Christian, and you have evil people who carry the label Jew, and you have evil people among white people, and you have evil people among black people, and you have evil people among Asian people and Hispanics. You have evil people among any ethnicity, but along those same lines, you have good people among all of them as well. And this is what God reminds us in the Quran. They are not all the same, just like you are not all the same. We as Muslims have to remember this in order to avoid bigotry and racism, which is one of the most condemned traits in the Quran. Bigotry is the foundation of racism, foundation of anti-Semitism, foundation of Islamophobia. And all bigotry is a tendency to broadly generalize groups of people we see as outside of our frame of reference, as outsiders, whether it's different religion, different ethnicity, different nationality, different race. Human beings have this propensity to view the outsiders as all the same, which is the worst thing to do. You don't want to be viewed all the same with people who carry the same label among you. So when people are blaming Muslims for something that one person has done, and they call them all as terrorists, people recognize, people who call themselves Muslims recognize, well, I'm not guilty of that. When all white people are called racists, a lot of white people recognize, well, I'm not racist. When all black people are called criminals, a lot of black people recognize, well, I'm not a criminal. So we have to stay away from that propensity to view them as all the same. I see a lot of anti-Semitism, for example, now because of the genocide that is going on in Palestine. And people are blaming, quote unquote, Jews for it. But they're not all the same. They are Jewish academics who have been speaking against this for decades. There are Jewish organizations in Israel and in the United States who have been striving, getting arrested, trying to expose the crimes, trying to stop them. There are also people who call themselves Muslims in some of those Muslim countries who are enabling the crimes of Zionists. So they are not all the same. We are not all the same. And this is important to recognize. God tells us in the 49th chapter of the Quran, verse 13, to avoid racism and to judge people by their taqwa, by their obedience to God. God says, O people, surely we have created you from a male and female and made you tribes and nations that you may know one another. And surely most honorable among you with God is the one who is most careful of their duty. People who do good, whether they are black, white, whether they are calling themselves Jewish, Christian, Muslims, those who obey God, those who do what God loves and stay away from what God hates, those are the good. And they will not be denied anything. And God knows those who are careful of their duty. This is how we have to view the world. We have to get our head out of this propensity to broadly generalize people and thus become bigots and racists. Watch what people do and stay away from speech that broadly generalizes those whom you see as outsiders. They are not all the same, just like you are not all the same. There are people in our communities who look like us, who claim the same religious labels as us, and yet they do evil. These are not our friends, these are our enemies. And then there are people who don't look like us, who have different skin color, who speak different language, but who are careful of their duty to God. They don't lie, they don't cheat, they don't steal, they don't fornicate, they don't do any evil. And these are our friends. These are our brothers and sisters. And this is what God teaches us in the Quran. Peace be with you.